Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Going to be talking about some PC Dissidia NT today and kind of its overall revival and why I think that most people should probably give it another chance, honestly. It's been something that's been a bit of a surprise. I built my computer maybe about a little over a month ago and finally got everything situated and stuff like that. And to be honest, NT for PC really wasn't something that I was even interested in. I remember when it first launched about a year ago, it was just pretty much plagued with issues with like really weird performance issues, even with like really great rigs and stuff like that. And it was kind of kept alive. You know, there's some pretty active members in the community that consistently would always play on PC, and that's fine. But just for the vast majority of us, we just stayed on PS4. Now I'm kind of on the other side of the fence now. After giving it some actual dedicated time, I would definitely say that the PC NT experience is kind of OD good. There's no other way to put it. I'm going to break down a couple general reasons as to why I think that this is probably going to be the optimal experience for most players going forward. If you're looking for like true competitive viability, this pretty much going to be it or bust going forward. So I'm going to break this down to pretty much 4 reasons that I have here. Number 1 is the game really plays as intended. I can't really put that in any other way. I've spoken to a couple of different players, players I haven't seen play the game for years. Like literally they haven't touched the game for the most part for years. I kind of came back and played with this over the last 1 or 2 weeks. We've been having lobbies damn near every night for about 2 to 3 hours, which is that's real weird for us. You know what I mean? I know we play a lot. We're kind of fiends and stuff like that, but playing that amount of time can really just kind of speaks to the quality of the game and its connection and your ability to actually play the game properly. Playing for 3-4 hours, you know, at a time, that's a long period of time to play any game, you know, let alone NT. So one thing with that really kind of caught my eye was that playing PC Dissidia, you can really feel how the game was intended. And by intended, I mean, this is essentially the game that they developed. You know, this isn't what we got on PS4, which is kind of like a pseudo version of the game in retrospect. In not so many words, I would say things like strange rollback with like, I think we all kind of have those moves within our character's tool set. So I'll use Bart's for example, right? With Bart's, I could never land ninja because it would always get like this weird rollback glitch thing. Like I would do it and they would like teleport out of it. It would always happen. And I'd always be pissed off about it. It got me killed so many times. Or just like monk not landing, just weird stuff. Like things that are supposed to be able to work in fighting games. Like, oh, this guy whiffed in my face. Sorry, I can mash. You know, I can mash my fast as normal. I'm gonna be able to punish this recovery. There's fundamental things like that in fighting games, which really is the glue of fighting games. You take that away, then things start getting a little spicy because you're no longer playing the game. It's just guesswork at that point, right? You're no longer playing the game as it's supposed to be going. So that's one major thing that just really changes the entire game for me. Knowing that I can actually hit somebody when I'm supposed to, that is an experience that I cannot go back to PS4 because it's just, I couldn't imagine not being able to hit somebody again when I'm supposed to be able to hit them. What the game's telling you, you know, and the networks and everything like that, and what actually happens, you know, 2 different things. That feeling kind of creates that psychological thing in your head where you're always second guessing from that point on. Okay, if I do this, is it actually gonna work? You know, it looks like it's spaced right, it's timed right, but what I'm seeing on my screen and what he's seeing on his screen are clearly 2 different things. So who knows what's gonna happen? It always ends up being a game of roulette. Is it black or is it red this time? It's pretty much all ends up happening. So one thing with that, I would say that it really teaches you how to hit people properly. I've played Tidus on and off. You guys have already seen me play Tidus. We'll use Tidus as the base example. Saren actually had a really nice video. Actually, I'll see if I can play some footage during this. He had a really nice video breaking down like the Dragon Ball Z teleporting, and it didn't matter who played Tidus. You know what I mean? It just happened. It was the character itself. It was kind of like the network architecture where he would just like teleport. Just weird stuff would happen. And you know, everybody knows the run-up slice and dice or the point-blank slice and dice that you can never get out of because the backflip animation never happens. We've all been on the wrong side of that. We get it. So things like that they just don't happen. It actually game is performing and it's animating things that you've probably never seen before. Situations that you normally would be able to get out of on the other side of the fence. Like say, I'll use myself for an example. I've never got hit by Sephiroth this much before in my life. Like, I wouldn't say it was a free matchup, but it just, you know, was simple, it was straightforward enough. But with everything optimized and the game actually playing the way it's supposed to, I got hit by this guy a lot, like way more than ever before, probably since I started playing the game. And it's just because that precision is actually there. You can be precise on PC. Your intentions are realized in its truest form. So if he does 8B, you know what I mean? If he properly spaces that, it's just, it actually just works, you know, works how it's supposed to. You don't get these weird, strange whiffs, or it's like, oh, this guy just rolled back, or it's desync clearly. Just weird stuff like that we've all experienced. It just doesn't happen on PC, or if it does happen, it's very, very minimal. So let's say that kind of situation would happen 7 times throughout a match. You're looking at it happening maybe only once or twice tops, right? That is something that's just crazy. You know, after a game that we've been with for going on 3 years at this point, for us to actually be able to actually play the game as it's intended really just changes it altogether. I've never hit so many people with lightning before in my life. I just thought I was bad. I'm still kind of bad with it. I'm not gonna say I'm good with it, but I just really thought my spacing was garbage, like absolute garbage. I'm like, I just don't know how to space with her. That must be it. I just do not know how to space with her. But first 3 lobbies we played on PC, I was able to hit people consistently. So I was like, this isn't really a spacing thing. It was just more that kind of psychological thing where you're kind of second guessing yourself. You don't want to do the beat down, or, you know, you might whiff or stuff like that. And I'm not saying it's going to make you a god overnight, but this kind of flows into the next point that I have, is that it will actually teach you how to improve. It will teach you where your actual gaps are and where you are coming up short in. And that's something that PS4 really struggled to teach you properly, because you could run across a team or even just random players in solo queue, and you were really playing the connection a lot more so than the actual players and their habits and their behaviors, which just becomes a huge issue. You know, this isn't relegated specifically to NT. This is just a fighting game thing, honestly. You know, fighting games notoriously have bad netcode. Okay, now the next thing I want to talk about is actually being able to play with other regions, which I always thought was one of the main Achilles heels when it came to NT overall, honestly. The game's netcode and just overall architecture for PS4 in particular just really wasn't suited at all for any international play at all. Didn't matter how immaculate the connections were, it just, the distance itself would kill it. You could have absolutely superb internet and play every other game probably flawless, but it just was not designed for that. Having 6 different parties and 6 different internets, connections, it never worked out for this game as intended. So I don't think that the developers ever thought that somebody would be playing, you know, one person in Canada, one person in New York, another person in Spain, one person in Hong Kong, you know, all in the same lobby and stuff like that. Maybe they never thought about that, or whatever. They didn't put any fail-safes in place to make it an enjoyable experience for all parties. I would say that playing PC, we've played with Siren and Lambda. I believe they're both EU reps. Well, Siren we all know. I believe Lambda also is EU as well. The connection was pretty flawless, you know what I mean? We did also run a PC scrim, and for the most part, that was also pretty good as well. The other thing with PC in particular is that you now have to also worry about the condition and the power of the person's PC, because if somebody's PC just isn't powerful or just having issues or anything like that, that is going to have an adverse effect on all parties involved. So that's another thing to kind of keep in mind, but it is nice to know that you can actually play with other people in different regions with relatively no issues, as long as you both have good connections, obviously, and powerful enough PCs. So being able to play in different regions, I would definitely put that on the board as well. That's going to definitely be a point for PC. Now, one thing, and this is going to be part of my final point here, because I think it's pretty clear what the advantages are of PC. My final point for playing on PC, and this is going to be a big thing for a lot of people, and it's particularly it's high on the list for me, probably like number 1, number 2, is it's going to come down to the OS. And if people that aren't familiar with that term, OS stands for option select in fighting games. So one thing that you would always
5 hours later
always hear perpetually was people complaining about, oh, there was desync, or there was rollback, or there was lag, or just, that entire train of thought. And not that these people were wrong, it just got tiresome after a while. You know what I mean? I feel like after a while, we all kind of accepted the boat that we were in. You know what I mean? This is the game. We know what it is. You know what I mean? We know what the architecture is like. So at a certain point, you kind of, you know, you got to either rock out with it or just don't play. You know what I mean? So that was one thing that kind of tired a lot of people out, was just hearing, you know, oh my goodness, this guy just rolled back. Or, you know, anytime something went wrong or there was a bad play or something like that, oh, it's just time to complain about the connections and stuff like that. And again, not that these people were completely off base, it just ended up being the go-to for way too many scenarios, and some of them I'm pretty sure just didn't apply. You know what I mean? It's just, it is easier to always blame connections as opposed to maybe trying to figure out what you did wrong. So that's probably number one or number two on my list, honestly. Not having to hear that for 2 weeks while I played this game. Let me tell you, man, that was a beautiful fucking thing. Not having to hear about rollback this or desync that, that was just that enough. That alone is worth the price of admission, honestly, man. So in conclusion, if you have an opportunity to play PC NT, I would definitely highly recommend it. A couple of footnotes, we'll kind of leave this here. One thing is that you can't really play ranked here unless like everybody starts playing on PC. Now I know the Steam user base went up like by a lot. It was like at 400 last month or this month. I'll pull it up. I'll have it on the screen. So there is people playing, but I would say that for the most part, this is going to be geared towards people that are kind of more competitive, I would say. If you're looking for an absolute optimal or pristine condition, I would say try and join one of the private lobbies that are hosted in the Dissidia network. I'll be trying to host lobbies as well. Try and get in one of those, see how you feel about it, how the connection is for you, whether you like it or not. Maybe you're still not a PC gamer, you know, it is what it is. But definitely give it a shot. I'll be trying to organize some lobbies over the next 2 to 3 weeks. Please give me a shout in Discord. I'll have all that in the YouTube comments below. And I'll also probably try and post them on Twitter as well, so we can get as much activity as possible. I'm still kind of in the phase of doing testing. I would like to try out with some South American people, different regions and stuff like that, just to see how it goes. Maybe see if we can get some JP players as well, and just see how the connection is, you know, between us, and see if this is viable. If we can get this thing to work, I would have no problems with running tournaments consistently on this platform, because I think it's completely viable. If you lose in a PC tournament, you actually just lost, you know what I mean? So that's pretty much all my thoughts on PC. And let me know what you guys think in the comments. Is this something that you could see yourself trying to use, you know, in the future, or are you going to stay on PS4? What do you guys think? Let me know. And thanks for tuning in. If you like what you saw, definitely subscribe, leave a thumbs up. Talk to you guys later.